Hello everyone. So this happened last night.
And so in between Anthony's round of parties and horse races, he'd sent his brothers to Eton and Oxford, gone to a mind-numbing number of piano recitals given by his sisters, no easy feat, 3 out of 4 of them were tone deaf, and kept a close and watchful eye on the family finances. With 7 brothers and sisters, he saw it as his duty to make sure there was enough money to secure all of their futures.
Oh, Anthony. Why am I so affected? For the past few days, Bridgerton 2 has been consuming like my entire being. It has been just restricting me from possibly thinking about anything else in the universe, which is the biggest crutch to bear. If you haven't watched Bridgerton season 2, I implore you respectfully to go and watch it. I have to document this journey. Like, I simply must, because I'm already in page 28 of the book version of Bridgerton season 2, which is the Viscount Who Loved Me, for those of you who do not know. And it's just the thing about season 2, and I keep saying this to everybody, and people are probably sick of me saying it, but I'll still say it now. It is really about the struggles, well, not just the love story of Kate and Anthony. It's about family, yes, it's about forbidden love, but more than that, it is about the struggles of a firstborn child. And the 2 main characters in the book, Kate and Anthony, are firstborns. They are the heads of the family. It's a topic of conversation that is very close to my person because I am a firstborn. So I feel like that's why it has such a big hold on my spirit, mind, soul, body. Needless to say, I am completely enraptured by season 2. I have already watched the season twice. This is the type of book that will be super duper personal. I can already feel it. I'm in page 28 and I've tabbed, I've written, I've highlighted so many things, and I just feel like it will connect to me in a spiritual level. I'll be ascending into a different plane of existence. So, first things first, I just want to point out, in Julia Quinn's, the author of the book, in Julia Quinn's kind of like author's note at the beginning, I don't know if she does this for every book, but this is the first book of hers that I've read. I didn't read The Duke and I. Her author's note in the beginning is just so lovely. Dearest reader, let's face it, we read romance novels to fall in love, specifically with the hero. Anthony Bridgerton, a character I already knew and loved from The Duke and I, was gorgeous, intelligent, used to getting what he wanted, in other words, perfect romantic hero material. Except that I don't like my characters to be perfect. Perfect characters lead perfectly boring lives and don't, in my opinion, make great romance novels. So I made a decision. Anthony was still going to be gorgeous and intelligent, but he wasn't going to be perfect. And this time, he definitely wasn't going to get everything he wanted. I hope you enjoy The Viscount Who Loved Me, and don't forget to fall in love. Oh! It's everything you wanted in a romance novel. Like, it's how you want a romance novel to start, because for me personally, romance novels are there to indulge, and you really read them to fall in love. Like, there's really nothing, like, you don't read it to be stimulated intellectually, you don't read it, you know, to be critical or judgmental. You just read it for a good time and to fall in love. I've been hearing a lot of people say that the books and the series, like, there's a big deviance, which is honestly personally fine with me, because on my part, I got Bridgerton season 2, I got Jonathan Bailey and Simone Ashley. That was super wonderful. I read that first, and usually when there's an adaptation of a book, you would want to read it first before watching it. But in my case, I'm kind of glad that I watched it first, because now I can use the people that I watched into my brain and my imagination while I'm reading the book. And I don't actually mind that this one is quite different from the series. I actually want it to be quite different because that just gives me 2 Canthony stories to love, and there's just more Canthony for me, which is amazing and great and wonderful, and I just need more of them. I need it. It was so important for me to see how Kate and Anthony were not perfect firstborns. Like, they were not perfect ates or kuyas or first like eldest siblings. They kept making mistakes. They were so stupid. They were like, this could have been resolved if they just did this, if they just said that. But alas, you know, the mind works in mysterious ways, especially if you are the head of a family and if you bear that big responsibility. It really works wildly. So I felt like there was real and raw and vulnerable representation of firstborns. I'm just ready to make this like my own diary of sorts. I don't think I'll ever lend this to anybody because it'll be too personal. I already started writing like personal notes within my book. Like I already, like in the margins, I already began. Let's see. Go through this journey with me and let's have fun. Let's fall in love. Let's go.
He did feel a rather sharp twinge of regret, and perhaps a touch of guilt as well, over the fact that it was unlikely that he'd live to see his son into adulthood. He was the firstborn Bridgerton of a firstborn Bridgerton of a firstborn Bridgerton 8 times over. He had a dynastic responsibility to be fruitful and multiply. Anthony actually smiled a bit as he thought of his large and often boisterous family. His son would not need a father to be well loved. Oh, my Anthony. Anthony, you hate him in like the first part, and then you love him again, and then you hate him in the next few paragraphs. Like each and every paragraph you find yourself like conflicted with how you see him, but then you also understand where he's coming from. He might be able to avoid conversation with a wife who was less than brilliant, but he did not want stupid children. I want to hate this man, but it is actually anti-feminist of me to be laughing at all of this. He had no need of a bride with a great dowry, and a bride without one might have more need of him. Anthony believed in using all of his advantages. Oh my god, this man is so insecure! It hurts! It hurts!
Oh my god, they're meeting, they're meeting, they're meeting, they're meeting! She held herself with an air of confidence that he could not help but find attractive.
He was left with a single bouquet. Kate stood frozen with shock, unable to take her eyes off the perfect pink blooms. She knew what he had to be about, that the only reason he'd included her in the gesture was to impress Edwina, but blast it, no one had ever brought her flowers before, and she hadn't known it until that very moment how badly she'd wanted someone to do so. Oh, Kate. Oh, Kate. This is like my diary. And it's so apt because in the previous page, floral arrangements generally went to Edwina. In fact, there was nothing general about it. Every bouquet that had arrived at the Sheffield residence in the last month had gone to Edwina, though Kate liked to think she had the last laugh, because most of the flowers made Edwina sneeze, so they tended to end up in Kate's chamber anyway. And that made me so sad, but at the next page, Anthony went to her and gave her flowers. And no one has ever bought her flowers before. Oh, hell no. Bloody hell, he didn't even like the woman. She was too bossy, too opinionated, too quick to jump to conclusions. She wasn't even beautiful, at least not compared to quite a few of the ladies flitting about London for the season, her sister most especially included. Anthony! Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no, Anthony. Kate's face was a touch too long, her chin a hair too pointed, her eyes a shade too big. Everything about her was too something. And yet he dreamed about her. What? He kissed her. Anthony kissed her in page 108. Am I reading this right? Oh my god, they're making out. Are they? Wait, what? What?
Oh my god, they're making out. I am confused. I really like this line from like the chapter before they started making out, but I just wanted to mention it, but then I was about to mention it, but then they started making out, but let me just.
She breathed when he paused, stopped when he moved. She had no doubt that her heart was beating in time to his pulse.
Okay, but now they're making out, so. Oh my god, and now Anthony is gaslighting her after he kissed her. He took a few steps toward her, his movements slow and sleek like a cat. After you kissed me? No, Anthony, you kissed her!
I won't let you make her unhappy. I won't let you ruin her life. She is everything that is good and honourable and pure, and she deserves better than you. I should think that my love for Edwina should be the one thing about me you could understand with perfect clarity. You who are supposedly so devoted to your own family. If you were Edwina's brother, Kate said with deadly accuracy, would you allow her to marry a man like you?
No. Hell no. Anthony, you suck! Amen, sister. Tell him. Also, it's interesting how this book is written because it's in third person, but I think this is the first time I've read a third person accommodating different points of view. Like usually when I read books in third person, it's only catered to one POV. But this one, POV is shifting between Anthony's and Kate's in like a single page. I've never encountered writing like that before, or like an approach like that before. It hasn't made me confused so far. It just took me by surprise that it was shifting between two different people. The thing I'm really missing from the series that I'm seeing in the book right now is Kate's friendship with the other characters. In the book, they visited Aubrey Hall. She formed chemistry with Violet and with Daphne. I think we saw a bit with Daphne, but not so much in the series. Also with Penelope. Like there is this scene in the book where, well, first of all, there's this portion at the beginning of the book where mention how you aren't really part of society yet if you haven't been insulted by Lady Whistledown. And both Kate and Penelope get insulted for wearing like clashing silks or like colors to their dress. She formed a friendship with Penelope through that, and they have really great chemistry in the book. There's this part where they attended the country ball in Aubrey Hall, and Cressida was all up Penelope's ass and was like, oh, I feel so sorry for you, Penelope, because you're fat and all that. Verbatim, that's what they say. She was fat and all that. And they were bullying her, basically, body shaming her. And Kate was about to go like punch her in the face, and then Anthony saves the day and escorts Penelope into the room. Like that's such good dynamic. Like you see Anthony being a hero, and the last sentence in the chapter, Kate described Anthony as a hero. Like he was a hero. He was a hero. He was a hero. I am kind of upset that Kate didn't have friends in the series, now that I'm thinking about it. Her only friends were Newton, Edwina, her sister, her mother, Lady Danbury. She didn't really have scenes with other people. She had that one scene with Eloise, and I would have loved them to develop that chemistry with Eloise, because given that they kind of put both of them in the same sort of category, like Eloise was asking her about not being married in such an age, and they kind of have this like circumstantial camaraderie. Eloise kind of wants to be like that, not married, but Simone Ashley's Kate ended up not having friends. Kate actually looked like a loner. The reason why Anthony is falling in love with Kate in the book is because she is getting along so well with his family, like with his mother, with his sister, with his brother. Like there is no Kate and Colin friendship in the TV series, and it's such a good like Kate meets Colin first. And now I kind of get how people are like, we want more Cantony. for both of them, their families are the most important things. And in the book, we see Kate revering her sister and protecting her sister, which is one of the things that make Anthony fall in love with her. But also at the same time, we see Kate getting along with Anthony's family. And it's just wonderful. It's just such a nice thing to read about. Like, the scenes, the banter, delicious. The Bridgertons are known for their family dynamics, their closeness to each other, their relationship with one another. It's a testament to them as a family to be welcoming to other people outside. So it would have been nice, Another airplane Make-A-Wish. Oh my god, she's going to the library alone. Oh my god, there's a storm. Oh my god, there's a storm. 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 It's cliche, but it makes sense that Kate would hate thunderstorms, something that she cannot control, versus Anthony, who loves thunderstorms and who verbatimly says he loves thunderstorms. Hard to tell why. Maybe it was just the proof of nature's power over man. It made him feel alive. It's so very Anthony to love thunderstorms. And yes, they are very much alike. They're almost the same person, but in different contexts, wherein Kate is the firstborn who is very organized, wants everything in place, kind of, I would say, disciplined and uptight. Whereas Anthony is the firstborn who is like, yes, gets everything done, but enjoys his life. You know, like in the first part of the book, he would go to horse races, go to parties and such, but still manage to bring his brothers to school, go to his sister's recitals and all that. And they're just two different peas in one pod. Oh my god, here it is!
And then there was Kate Sheffield, the bane of his existence and the object of his desires, all at once. And instead he couldn't stop thinking about Kate, who, as much as she infuriated him, couldn't help but command his respect. How could he not admire one who clung so steadfastly to her convictions? And Anthony had to admit that the crux of her convictions, devotion to family, was the one principle he held above all else.
Oh my god, he's holding her hand. Oh my god, he's kissing her hand.
He might have been a rake and rogue, he might still be a rake and rogue, but clearly his behaviour to those ends did not define the man.
Oh, Kate.
He might have been a rake and rogue, he might still be a rake and rogue. Clearly his behaviour to those ends did not define the man, and the only objection Kate had to his marrying Edwina was, she swallowed painfully. There was a lump the size of a cannonball in her throat, because deep in her heart, she wanted him for herself. But that was selfish, and Kate had spent her life trying to be unselfish, and she knew she could never ask Edwina not to marry Anthony for such a reason. If Edwina knew that Kate was even the tiniest bit infatuated with the Viscount, she would put an end to his courtship at once. And what purpose would that serve? Anthony would just find some other beautiful, eligible woman to pursue. There were plenty to choose from in London.
This just sounds like, I know my sister like I know my own mind. You will never find anyone as trusting or as kind. If I tell her that I love him, she'd be silently resigned. He'd be mine. She'd say I'm fine. She'd be lying. But when I fantasize at night, it's Alexander's eyes as I romanticize what might have been if I hadn't sized him up so quickly. What in the Edward Cullen? I'm going to have to suck the venom out, he said grimly. Just hold still. When was this published? 2000? Stephanie Meyer? Is this where you got your whole sucking out the venom thing concept? Was Anthony Bridgerton actually the prodigy of sucking out the venom? Oh my god, they got caught. Of course they got caught. They got caught! They got caught! It's actually also really interesting to see how things are playing out here without the love triangle plot. Obviously, Edwina is not in love with the Viscount, as we see in the series, and obviously they did that to spice things up more for the show. And I completely understand, even though I'm not a big fan of love triangles. I personally do not like it. I don't like the concept of like one person getting hurt, the other person getting the short end of the stick. Like, I don't like it. It was one of the hard things to watch in the show for me, especially for Edwina. It was great, it was fun, but it was just difficult. I'm trying to imagine what it would be like in the show if there wasn't a love triangle plot. It would probably be boring and uneventful. I mean, people watch it for the drama, but also we get to see more of Kate's inner thoughts and Anthony's inner thoughts. So I guess that's where the pain comes from here. That's where the angst comes from here, because you can't really see that in the series. Like, you can't see how jealous Kate is, you can't see how insecure she is. I'm actually not all mad about how insecure Kate is. I know I've said this, but first I'm shocked with the turn of events that he's going to have to marry Kate. So this is kind of looking like the Duke and they were caught in a compromising position. Now he has to marry her. No one is going to believe you wanted to marry me. Everyone will think you were trapped. Oh, are they about to have sex? So I'm guessing, I am predicting that this will be exactly like the Duke and where they're forced into marriage and then they kind of try not to fall in love because Anthony is like, there were worse fates than finding oneself married to an intelligent, entertaining woman, whom one happened to lust after around the clock. All he had to do was make certain he didn't actually fall in love with her, which shouldn't prove impossible, right? Well, joke's on you, sir. Oh, this is disgusting. He'd enjoy her friendship and enjoy her body and keep it at that. It didn't have to go any deeper. This is ridiculous. But now they're about to have sex. My thing about concluding things or concluding videos is I always end up not saying things that I initially wanted to say, or I forget things. I'm gonna try to be as articulate as I possibly can. I finished it. I didn't get to film the last portions, maybe about like the last 50 pages. I think those were the parts where I was really surprised with how things turned out. Not because it was unpredictable, it was quite predictable. There was a big deviance between the book and the series, which is already a given. We already knew that, but it was just a shock to me how different it was. When I was watching the series, I've always encountered like tweets, comments about where are the Anthony and Kate scenes, like where are the scenes where they're married and all that stuff, and I was just assuming that they were referring to like epilogues, because I knew there was like an extended, like a second epilogue that is included in this book that I actually already read. And then I found out from a friend who is a big Bridgerton book fan that those second epilogues didn't actually release till all of the books were over. So I found out things about the other characters in the other books that I wasn't actually supposed to know. I was just really surprised at how much different it is. Like, it's a different plot altogether. There was no love triangle. I thought there was gonna be like a semblance, like a hint, like a teeny tiny. I already knew that it wasn't a big thing. I didn't know it wasn't a thing at all. Like, I thought there would just be something, like, you know, I just expected something that would revolve around it for maybe like a chapter or a portion. None. Zero. Edwina didn't even care about Anthony. I was shook when she literally had a line that said, in chapter 15, the only time she felt truly at ease was when a few hours after Anthony's announcement, she finally had a chance to talk privately with Edwina, who'd thrown her arms around her sister and declared herself thrilled, overjoyed,
and not even one tiny bit surprised.
I laughed out loud when I read this. I was like, this is a different turn of events. It's so funny. It was so obvious to me that he was smitten. I do not know why no one else saw it. Meanwhile, Edwina in the series was like,
Was I truly that blind?
And the fact that like a quarter of the book towards the end turned out to be just like a Duke and I, where they were forced to marry because they were found in a compromising position. First of all, let's talk about Anthony Bridgerton trying to suck out the bee venom. I was about to say Kate Sharma, but then in this case it's Catherine Sheffield's collarbone. Kate was stung by a bee, as she was in the series, but in the book, Anthony tried to suck out the venom. My initial reaction was, what in the Edward Cullen? This was published in 2000. It was published before Twilight. And the immediate reaction in my brain was like, is this where Stephanie Meyer got this idea? Or is this really just a thing? Is it a thing to suck out the venom from someone? Is that a concept? Is that something that society has already been like turning over in their brains? Like, I just thought this was a vampire concept. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to find it in another vampire book, you know? But this isn't even a vampire book. It's a Regency era romance. I mean, you know what? Now that I think about it, Regency era, they did all sorts of weird things back in the old days, so maybe I shouldn't be shocked. I think I'm just shocked at the fact that I didn't think that there would be a different blueprint to the venom sucking. It's apparently been going on. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I read it somewhere else, like from a book older than this book. So yeah, because I've been hearing, like, I've been seeing, like, I've been watching Cantonese edits all day, every day. It's the only thing in my mind right now. TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, you name it, Tumblr, I've watched it. And all of the comments were like,
the bee sting scene is so different in the books. The books, it's better.
and I'm like, in my brain, I don't know if this is better, but it's different. So I guess that's fine. Again, I'm looking for something different also because I really want to experience Kate and Anthony's story in a different light. I really want to see them in all angles, which is again why I love the book. Like, I enjoyed it. I got to see and to dissect Anthony and Kate's brains because despite there being big differences between the book and the series, I think one thing that they didn't take away from the book is characterization. Like, I don't know if it's just really like a difference in perspective, but I've seen so many criticisms on Simone Ashley's portrayal of Kate versus Kate Sheffield or Catherine Sheffield in The Viscount Who Loved Me. They keep saying that Katani Sharma is a different person from Kate Sheffield. Some people love it, some people hate it. You know, it's a big discord. But for me, they're just the same person. I already said this like a few clips back, I think. We wouldn't know what's inside Kathani's mind. Like, we don't know what's in her brain. We can only see actions. Like, in watching a movie or a TV show, you can only see emotions through body language, through movement, through dialogue. Nobody can really say that, oh, this is what Kate was feeling, because we can just assume, you know? All of the things we can possibly get from the show are things that we assume because they never really verbatimly say what they feel. Unlike in the book, we really are inside their brains. We go through their vulnerabilities and their insecurities and their jealousies. And I feel like Katani and Catherine are the same. Firstborn daughters, insecure and jealous of their younger sibling, but will never show it because it's not what matters. What matters is they love Edwina and they will do anything for Edwina, but that doesn't negate the fact that they do feel insecure about their little sister's beauty and grace and just natural ladylike, I don't know, stature. It doesn't negate the fact that they do get jealous when men prefer their little sibling over them. It's not the principal or primary emotion because they have responsibilities. They have things that matter more, but again, it's still there. I would like to think that even if Kathani never mentioned that, oh, I'm jealous of Edwina because she is, you know, the diamond of the season, she is the one who is actually, I mean, it's a burden, but I guess she is the one we are presenting to society for marriage, not me. I'm an old spinster, you know. Even if we see Kathani being such a good ate, it's there. Like, plot-wise, I actually loved how it turned out. It was a I guess I would like to give a point to this TV series for that, because I'm always like, they're in the same weight for me. I like them both equally, but in terms of the ending, I think I like TV series a bit more. The ending of the Viscount Who Loved Me was Kate and Anthony being caught in a compromising position, same as with Daphne and Simon. They're forced to get married, and then in the end they kind of engage in this marriage. Anthony tries his damn hardest not to fall in love with Kate, because he really has this belief that he will not surpass his father's dying age, so he really didn't think he deserved to live past his father. He just has this really like stubborn sense of mortality, and he didn't want to give Kate that burden. Like, when he died, I don't want you to be sad, and I don't want to leave you depressed like my dad did my mom. You know, same with the TV series. It just becomes that kind of plot that they both try to not fall in love. I mean, Kate was already in love with him, but she was trying not to show it, but then they end up acting like a real in love couple. Classic marriage of convenience plots that I love. But even though I really love that trope, it's something that we've already seen before in season 1, so I do get the need to change that. So I get the part where they needed to include a love triangle, forbidden love, because in this book it's not really forbidden. And there was just this time in their marriage that Anthony was realizing that he was falling in love with Kate, and he was, you know, pulling back, you know, classic, trying to run away from the relationship. And of course, Kate, being already in love with Anthony, was just so level-headed about everything, very mature. And again, I keep saying this, and it's getting annoying, but I mean, it's my video, so whatever. It's just very firstborn of her to think this way. Like, there was a scene, chapter 20, where Anthony was just, he had an epiphany where he realized, oh, I'm in love with this woman that I married. And then he panicked, had a panic attack, left. They just had sex, and then he left. That hurts for anybody, you know. But Kate, this is what she said. Anthony was gone, and while she was certain he'd return in body, she was not so confident about his spirit. And she realized that she needed something. She needed the storm to prove to herself that she could be strong. By herself and for herself. She didn't want to be alone, but she might not have a choice in that matter. Anthony seemed determined to maintain a distance. There were demons within him, demons she feared he would never choose to face in her presence. But if she was destined to be alone, even with a husband at her side, then by God, she'd be alone and strong. I'm crying just reading this part. I don't know how it is for other like positions in the family, I guess, but when you're the eldest in a room, or not even just the eldest, when you're a person who is demanded responsibility from, in terms of familial duties, there are so many possible unfortunate events that could happen in your life, that maybe has already happened in your life. And it's not that you cannot, but these responsibilities that you have give you that sense of you cannot buckle. You can cry, you can take a rest, take a break, but you cannot give up. And when you're a firstborn, it really, like, the option for weakness isn't an option. Like, it doesn't exist. You will always find some other way to solve a problem. And that is what I think is happening here with Kate. Like, she's telling herself that even if Anthony will not leave her in name, but if he ends up like deserting her emotionally, she will be alone, but she will be strong. She's just gonna have to deal with it and go with the flow. And that's always been how I thought. Like, if I fail at things, I'll deal with it. If I make mistakes, I'll pick myself up, scrape the floor of my messes. Like, it's just that. And I guess with people who also bear not just firstborns, but people who also bear a lot of responsibility in the family, it's the same. Like, you really have no choice. Anthony and Kate are just the same person. Kate realizing her mortality, like, at a certain part of, like, that's why she was scared of storms. Another thing that was different from this series, like, it wasn't really emphasized. There was just one scene of her being scared of a storm, but she wasn't really scared. It was a thing here, apparently. She got like panic attacks and all that. What else do I have to say? I feel like I've said so many unnecessary things, but have forgotten the important things. But such is life. You are the bane of my existence and the object of all my desires. What a line. And the line I burn for you was actually Anthony's. Simon, you thief. Also, I don't know if I want to get cancelled. Do I? Okay, maybe. I rewatched season 1 and I just kind of like realized how Roger Jean, Simon the Duke from season 1, that he was actually okay acting wise. He's attractive, tall, dark, and handsome, but he was just okay acting wise. Personally, it was really Phoebe who carried the entire show. She was just wonderful. Actually, the whole Bridgerton family. But for season 2, Jonathan Bailey, that guy should win every award for this season. Simone Ashley, Charithra Chandran. Girl is on fire. I just love them. I'm just probably gonna rewatch everything again after reading. I should, right? I probably. I will be ending this video here. Thank you so much for going on this journey with me of reading The Viscount Who Loved Me by Julia Quinn. I already cannot wait for season 3. I don't know if I'm gonna be reading the other books. I think I will. I'm interested suddenly. Yeah, if you want to talk about Bridgerton more, please do. I just want to talk about this non-stop. Honestly, I haven't talked to enough people about it, and I really want to. And yeah, I'm gonna go to bed. I need a breather from this. This was great. This was such an adventure, such a special place in my heart. Thank you so much for swinging by my channel. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, happy weekend. Goodbye. Mwah.